Here we go with the first live stream for Seeking Christ Within. I have decided to title these little Bible studies literal or logical, because that's what really has spoken to me. Since I started really diving into what the Bible actually says in the original language and applying it to the things that I already know and things that I can prove to myself. The Bible says prove all things, and I can prove these things. So, literal or logical, because there's so much through the whole Bible that makes absolutely zero logical sense at all. Good morning, Teresa. Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, I'm not even gonna get started. Happy Expensive Roses Day to you as well. But you know what? I dig Groundhog Day more than Valentine's Day, because it's actually, something that you can see on the calendar. It's the partway point. We're halfway through the winter already. It's almost spring. I'm so excited to see that stupid groundhog, because it means spring's almost here. The sun's almost back. Everything's gonna go green. Everything's gonna grow and be just full of life. I love the spring. Love, love, love the spring. Today, we are going to look at 1 Corinthians 13. I pulled it up. It came in my scripture of the day the other day, and I pulled it up and I pinned it on my browser because I was going to come back to it, and I never came back to it. And the very next day, they gave me another section of 1 Corinthians 13. And when I saw it, I was like, because I had skimmed through the very beginning and was like, oh, I'm going to come back to that, and pinned it. And then the next day they sent me another part of that, and I was like, I remember seeing that, and pulled it because it was right pinned, and I opened it up, and sure enough, there it was. And I'm like, okay, I'll look at Corinthians. And I sat down, and when I started to go through it, all these things started jumping out at me, and I thought, well, I guess that's going to be my first live stream. So, is it literal or is it logical? Bible study for the truly seeking. Do you really want to know what the Bible says? Let's find out what the Bible really says. Gonna move over here and show it to you. Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels. Angels is highlighted because I believe that it's used in the story as, it's telling you a story. I think you're supposed to kind of picture angelic beings coming down. But in reality, this word simply means a messenger, especially a divine messenger. Supernatural messenger from God. And I think we've pretty well established that we're talking about angles of light, angles of radiation, even if it resonates better, angles of electromagnetic activity that's coming down at us, and that's what seems to be enlightening mankind. I mean, that's what the whole Aquarian age is about, is that it's a shift in the energy that's above us, and it's changing us. So when I read angels anymore, I automatically think basically messenger of God, messenger of divine intervention. And have not charity. And I got stuck on charity. Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. Then we come over here and we learn it's not charity, it's love. Charity isn't love. And it says, love feasts. Like, that's a really interesting, very kind of much more specific term to use. Love, benevolence, goodwill, esteem, love feasts. Typically refers to divine love. A feast of love. That's not weird at all, right? If in the tongues of men I speak and of angels, love, however, not have I become a brass sounding or a cymbal. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. This stuff is so weird. You're not supposed to pick it up and read it like it's a novel and just blow through it and try to imagine. I mean, this is supposed to be weird. This is supposed to catch your attention and make you say, what? What in the hell does that mean? Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels. So, though I speak as a man, and I mean, it must mean that he's interpreting things of divine message, and have not love, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. So even though I do good things, and I can converse both ways, having no love, you're become as sounding brass or tinkling cymbal. What could that mean? A brass. Money. Copper, brass, money, and a brazen musical instrument. We assume it's talking about the instrument, but it's funny that the word also means money. Sounding. A loud noise, to sound. I make a sound, give forth a sound, roar as the sea, echoes. Or a cymbal. Isn't it funny that symbol and symbol are the same word? Like a symbol for something or a symbol? Phonetics is funny. Strong's for a brass. Where did I just see that? I think I highlighted it, didn't I? There it is. Hollowing out as a vessel. Hollowing out as a vessel. As a brass. A money, a musical instrument, brass instruments have the big hollow end, like a trumpet, like a tuba. They have the big hollow. So you are becoming hollow and a tinkling cymbal. And this says a sounding. Oh, sounding, or a cymbal clanging. Cry aloud. To raise a war cry. That's not tinkling. That's not tss, 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 tss. That's sounding a war cry. Or a clanging or crashing cymbal. Wailing. Clanging, crying. To repeat frequently the cry. To ring aloud. You're sounding a war cry. You're becoming hollow, echoing hollow, and sounding a war cry because you don't have love. Even though you're speaking the tongues of men and receiving messages from God. that becomes more than just a marching band that you're marching through. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, now we know charity is love, I am nothing. And this comes out different in this language. This kind of makes it sound like it's a given. And though I have the gift, and I understand all mysteries, but when it's in the original, oh, it's harder to go by the whole chapter. It's easier to go line by line, but it's a bigger pain in the butt. I suppose I'm going to have to, though, huh? Maybe. There. And if I should have prophecy. Not even though I do. It's if I should have prophecy. Prophecy is an interesting word. We think of prophecy as, I got this this bright idea and I know it's divine and I'm going to tell you about it because I'm a prophet. But what it actually says is the gift of communicating and enforcing revealed truth. Enforcing revealed truth. That means being able to communicate a truth and back it up and reveal it and show it. That's what's going to separate the prophets in the Bible from the people that are running around just saying they know. I keep seeing, oh my gosh, because I've been watching a lot of other people talk about the sacred secretion in the Bible and things like that, and I get all of these videos for decalcify your pineal gland and how important that is. And every single one of those videos is simply parroting something else that someone else said and had, visuals that they could look at, and they explain this to you like they have a freaking clue what they're talking about. And I'm not saying I have a clue what I'm talking about. I don't know anything other than what everyone else has had to say about it too. I don't know if that's true. I assume fluoride affects you in some way in your head, but I mean, I don't know that it's caused by fluoride. I don't know that that's what keeps the connection away. I don't know. But I do know that everybody seems to know all about their chakras and all about their third eye and all about decalcification and all about this whole divine unity love thing, and yet everybody is still deeply concerned with their YouTube views and putting ads on their shit, and it's more about putting out there what is most popular and looked up right now and what they can get for themselves out of it. Because most of these people that I watch, I'm watching them thinking, you don't really know anything about anything, I don't think. I mean, some people come across as actually having a clue, but most people, they just come across like they're giving a commercial for the last video that you watched about the third eye, about decalcification, about fluoride, about enlightenment. And it's all, when I was first getting into the law of attraction, I was coming at it from a biblical standpoint because that's just the foundation I had in life. And there were so many people talking about how it was satanic and it was more commercial than anything, and how it was going to make things worse, and it was new age. And I didn't understand, because I could see the parallels between the biblical standpoint and the new age standpoint. I couldn't wrap my head around why new age was different and what the difference was. And now I get the difference. Because New Age is still further about doing what you're told. It's not about knowing anything tangible that you can prove, about being able to demonstrate something to yourself or to other people. It's not about being able to enforce a revealed truth. Nobody cares if they're enforcing a revealed truth. They just want to reveal whatever they can reveal and get them whatever benefit that they can from it. Build up their treasures on earth. Get their views and their ad views and all of that crap. Make their money and move along and seem like they were knowledgeable and have people leave them comments about how much they heart their channel and, oh, I just love everything you have to say. And, you know, and that's all anybody's really looking for. No one actually wants to do something that makes an actual tangible difference in their life that they can demonstrate. And that's, by definition, according to Hebrew, what it is the gift of communicating and enforcing a revealed truth. And I thought that that was interesting and worth mentioning, worth pointing out. So if I should have this gift and understand the mysteries, what are the mysteries? A mystery, a secret, of which initiation is necessary. The counsels of God, once hidden, but now revealed in the gospel. Gospel, that word means the good news, the good message, or some fact thereof. The Christian revelation generally. See, now we're getting into opinion. Particularly truths or details of the Christian revelation. A mystery is not something unknowable. Rather, it is what can only be known through revelation, because God reveals it. It's a mystery. It says all through the Bible, I'll give you the truth in a mystery. It's a mystery. I understand the mysteries, even though I might understand the mysteries. A mystery or secret doctrine. People say the Bible is what it says it is. And if you say that it is secretly something else, then that's occult and you are satanic and you're misleading people. And this says in Hebrew, in its original language, it says a mystery, a secret doctrine, even though I understand the secret doctrine. You're supposed to understand the secret doctrine. You're supposed to look at this. You're supposed to think this is weird and check it out. A hidden purpose or counsel, secret will. A hidden or secret thing not obvious to the understanding. Not obvious to the understanding. It's a mystery. And if I should have prophecy and understand the mysteries and all the knowledge, a knowledge, a knowing, doctrine, wisdom. Having the knowledge means having the wisdom and the proper doctrine. And gnosis is a feminine, which is interesting. It's interesting which words have the masculine and feminine. Knowledge gleaned from first-hand personal experience, connecting theory to application. Sometimes we just need a moment of silence. Sometimes I don't even know what to say about it, to comment on it. And if you don't understand why I'm highlighting it, then you don't belong listening, because I don't have to tell you what that means. It's applied knowledge. And if I should have this gift of prophecy, of being able to do this and back it up and show you, and even though I understand the secret doctrines, if I might understand the secret doctrines and have all the knowledge. I know how this works. I know how to do it. I know how to apply this knowledge. And if I should have all the faith, being belief, trust, confidence, fidelity, faithfulness, so as mountains to remove, transfer, carry away, depose, exchange, seduce. You move to remove, to seduce. You go, come this way. Love, however, if you don't have it, you're nothing. I am, no one, none, nothing, have. To have, hold, possess. So, even though I might be able to do it and back it up, and even though I might understand the doctrine and have applied knowledge from learning the doctrine, and I have all the faith in the world that I can do things, if I don't have love, I'm nothing. You know what that sounds like to me? This whole second line sounds just like all the people running around Hollywood. I think they know things. I think they can do things. I think that they're working things, but they don't have love. They have hate and disdain and pride, and all they're amassing is money. Money and abuse and trauma and just all of this horrific, awful stuff. And they are essentially nothing and going nowhere. Just saying. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. So even though we're giving everything away to the poor, and we burn our bodies, if we don't have love, it won't profit. And if I may give away all the possessions of me, and if I may deliver up the body of me, that I may boast, love, however, not have, nothing I am profited. Language berries are fun. So, if we give away all our possessions and deliver up the body of me, that I may boast. To boast, I glory, exult proudly. Properly living with head up high, boasting from a particular vantage point by having the right base of operation to deal successfully with a matter. How very proper. What holds the head up high? Upright. Figuratively, it refers to living with God-given confidence. The high level of personal self-interest motivating this boasting accounts for why it is always in the Greek middle voice. I don't even know what that means. But it says it refers to living with God-given confidence, to boast. And I'm sure that's one of those things that can absolutely go both ways, because everything that we have, everything that we are, and everything that we do goes to the right or to the left. It goes to the higher or to the lower. We always have this choice to be a blessing or to profit ourselves, to profit our ego, to live from our baser animal instinct and build up our treasures on earth. screw that guy over to get his money, or steal that from that person because I wanted it and they had it and they didn't deserve it anyway. They didn't work for that. They're on welfare over there and they bought that with, you know, the taxes that other people pay. So I deserve it as much as they do. People actually will quantify their actions this way, and the only person that they're really lying to is themselves, because there is a part of them that actually believes that this is true, and they will give away all responsibility for their actions just because I can justify it. I can justify it by the law. I can justify it in this concrete world. I can't justify it spiritually, because you know you did something wrong. You know when you took it you shouldn't have. You know when you lied, you shouldn't have done it. You know when you hurt someone, what that pain actually feels like. But you do it anyway. It's the downfall of man. So, sorry, I forgot where I was. Oh, to boast. Yeah, we're boasting, we're living upright and like boasting, being proud of living upright. I may give away all my possessions and I could deliver up my body that I may glorify God, is what it's saying. But if I have no love, it won't profit me. Love suffereth long and is kind. Love envieth not. Love vaunteth not itself, and is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, it is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. Thinketh no evil, I thought was interesting. Popped on over here to check that out. It keeps account not of wrongs. It doesn't keep account of wrongs. Think, suppose, charge with, reason. Of bad, evil, in the widest sense. Worthless, depraved, or injurious. So, it's not easily provoked, and it doesn't sit and keep track of everything that you've done wrong. Love suffers long, it's kind, it doesn't envy, it doesn't puff itself up, it doesn't behave in an unseemly manner, it doesn't seek its own for itself, it's not easily provoked, and it doesn't keep track of everything that you've done wrong. Love doesn't rejoice in iniquity, but it rejoices in truth. It bears all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. All things I thought was interesting, and grabbed that one. All things. All, every, the whole, every kind of. The emphasis of the total picture then is on one piece at a time, then focuses on the part making up the whole, viewing the whole in terms of the individual parts. It's a word that specifically connects everything and picks out specific things about the whole, almost like a hologram. I mean, I'm not stating that officially for the record. I'm just saying that's interesting because I've found all things written that way, all things, this word, before, And it was interesting where it was placed, and I'm sure we'll come upon that again. But when it's talking about internal things, and it starts picking out specific personalities, and it talks about them in this nature. All things, specifically individual things as they connect to a whole. So it bears all things in the whole. It believes them all. It hopes. It endures. Love never fails. But whether there be prophecies, they will fail. Whether there be tongues, they will cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. So no matter what you think you know, and how you think you can do it, no matter how you can express yourself and share it, it's all going to stop. And it doesn't matter what knowledge you have, applied knowledge that you have gained from actually experiencing things. It'll all go away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. In part. We can only know part of it, and we're only talking about it from part of it. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When, however, should come the perfect, the in part will be done away. Will be done away, to render inoperative, abolish, to make idle, inactive, to make of no effect, annul. When you get a marriage annulled, it's like it never happened. It's like it wasn't even there. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just not anymore. Sever, separate from. Sorry if my scrolling makes you dizzy. I try to highlight the things that I want to specifically note so I don't have to look through them all at the moment. So it's going to be nullified. It's going to be like it wasn't there. So when you become perfect, completeness, having reached its end, complete, perfect, complete in all its parts. There we are with parts again. The whole. Consummating completion by fulfilling the necessary process. Consummating is pretty specifically a term used for sex. It's a sexual union. Again, with the marriage, when you consummate a marriage, that means that you got married and then you had sex. It's like making it official. It's like cutting the ribbon, breaking the champagne. You're like, woo, it's the fireworks. It's sign on the dotted line, even though technically you already signed on the dotted line. But that's because when you literally signed on the dotted line, you made an agreement with the state. When you said, I do, and you said, I will, and then you came together in that physical, spiritual union, you made a spiritual agreement, and it's different. So I would think that consummating is actually a more spiritual term than a physical term, but it does have directly to do with your sex energy. A lot of this book has to do with sex energy. So it's to do with sexual energy and completing a process, fulfilling a process. Having reached an end, it becomes perfect. So when you become perfect, the part will be done away. the part, the portion, the share. You won't be a part anymore. You'll be a whole. A part, a portion, a share. That'll be done away. It'll be gone. It'll be nullified. You won't be a part anymore. When I was a child, this is interesting. When I was a child, a simple-minded or immature person, unlearned, unenlightened, when I was a child, I was reasoning like a child. To reckon, count, charge with, reason, decide, conclude, think, suppose. When I became a man, a male human being, a man, a husband, this is important. We're up here talking about being made perfect and it having to do with consummating this process. And when I became a husband, and it's a different word, because when we come up here, in the tongues of men, men is 444. Can we just point out for a minute that 4 is the number of man? it's your sense. It's 4 is associated with death and physicality. Even in Strong's dictionary. A man, human, mankind, a man, one of the human race. Eye, face. And when we became a husband, that's not anywhere in here. It doesn't even fall in here. It's talking about, you know, man. Like man as in all of us, like everybody. Like, this is specifically speaking of husbandry. Or a specific man, husband. And they slipped virgin in there. That's interesting. So, pop back over here and scroll way down to the bottom. And I lost it. Oh, there it is. When I became a husband, I did away with to be entirely idle, literally or figuratively, the things of the child, of the immature. We became perfect. Once we completed the process, we let go of the immaturity, the simple-mindedness, the logical or literal. We see, this is a good one. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. I always thought that was a weird line. For now we see through a glass darkly. We see presently, now, right this moment. A derivative of arrow, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, through the idea of suspension. Like we see suspended in time right this second through a glass, a mirror, a looking glass made of highly polished metal. In obscurity. a riddle, an enigma. Right now, presently suspended in this moment, we see through a reflection of obscurity. It's obscured. It's a riddle. An obscure saying. An obscure saying. To speak in riddles. I mean, we're looking at reality right now through some kind of weird reflection. And everything is in a riddle. Everything is hidden, but it's there. And you can figure it out because all the clues are right in front of you. That is what a riddle is. When you get a riddle, everything you need to understand it is right in front of your face. That's why they're so hard, because they use parts of your brain that don't say, this paper is red. This pen is blue. It doesn't use that really obvious, literal, there it is part of your brain. It uses a part of your brain that you can state the freaking obvious and put it right in front of someone's face and they'll miss it like it's not even there, because they can't shift their mind to think about it in a different way, from a different perspective, from something other than that angle of logic. That's what a riddle is. And we are suspended in this moment looking at a reflection that's a riddle. And then, face to face, the front, the countenance, appearance, surface, by implication, presence, and person. So, it can be a person, it can be a face, and it can be an aspect, an appearance, the surface appearance of things. Face to face, presently, I know, in part. Then, however, I will know fully. So, I'll know, on the surface, I know parts of it. Parts of it are obvious on the surface. A division or a share. But then, I will know fully. To know is upon some mark. We're always on about being marked. Recognized, by implication, to become fully acquainted with, to acknowledge. If you're acknowledging, I mean, we know that knowledge is something you gain by experience, if we remember correctly. Somebody's pulling in my driveway. Dogs are going nuts. Then I will know fully, as also I have been fully known. So at this point, we will be known fully by that. At the end of this process, that which is God will know us fully. And we will know fully because we have been known by it. I mean, it's really, even though the language barrier makes it confusing, it's really poetic. But when you read it, for now I shall see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall see even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity. Like, you read through it and you don't even stop and ask what it means. This is weird stuff. It's weird stuff, and it keeps talking about knowing a process and having an experience, and being perfect is literally twisted up with something sexual and becoming a husband. They say Jesus is the bridegroom. The bridegroom is the guy that comes to get married. He becomes the husband. This is important stuff. This isn't just something that is weird and you should leave it to someone else to interpret it. It's telling you it's a riddle. It's telling you everything you need to know is right here, but you have to decipher it. You have to figure it out. It's a mystery. It's a secret doctrine. Even though I know the secret doctrine, even though I might know, and I might be able to demonstrate it, if I don't have love, it's nothing. I'm nothing. And now I have to see who's in my driveway. Give me 2 seconds, please. Husband come home for parts. All right. And he's not in his truck, which is why I didn't know it was him. So, through this process, we are to let ourselves be known to this higher power, and we will know within ourselves also. And now abideth in faith, hope, love, these 3, but the greatest of these is love. However, abideth in faith, hope, love. Faith, belief, trust, confidence, fidelity, and faithfulness. Hope, expectation, trust, confidence, kind of redundant. And love, which is the benevolence, the love feast. Love feast. The things 3, these, the greatest, however, of these is the love feast. The love feast is special. And I was like, you know, what on earth is a love feast? I mean, I know what the less divine, lower nature notions of love feast might be, but we're talking about spiritual things. We are specifically talking about things to the right. We are casting our net to the right. So what is a love feast? And then I thought, you know what? There is something special that happens inside of you when you purposely center yourself in your heart and feel love. It is said that Jesus lives behind your heart, and I don't know if that's biblical or if that's just something that I've heard, and I'm going to look into it now. But there's something that happens when you center yourself in your heart and in love. And I have learned that healing comes from this. If you build it up enough in your chest, you can, using your intention, move it through your body wherever it needs to be. If you're having a pain or something like that, you can grow love in your chest and move it to your pain and heal it. You can also move it from your chest out through your arms and through your hands to another person. It's like a measurable thing. You can actually do this. But I thought, love feast. I mean, aside from the fact that I keep going back to the notion that this process has to do with autophagy, and if God is love, we're told that all through the Bible. God is light, God is love. God is light, God is love. You're talking about God, a God feast. You're talking about God feasting on you. Then that is like freaking autophagy. That's what's happening. Your body is eating itself. What lives inside of you is eating what's inside of you. But love feast, when I meditate, sometimes I will pull some loving thought about, I pull a face to mind, a person, my kids, my husband, whatever. And more often than not, it'll be a time, a happening that was particularly warm and fuzzy, or as it were, you know, and really focus on that memory and how it made me feel, and really, like, really purposely focus on trying to grow, make larger what is essentially a warm, fuzzy feeling in the middle of my chest. And it changes you somehow. I mean, it's gotta, like, raise your vibration, or, you know, make you resonate higher. If I was Abraham Hicks, I would say it was your point of attraction. It takes over your dominant energy in your body. It forces you to resonate higher, like a guitar. If you strike two strings, strike that low E and it goes boom, but it also resonates to the string next to it. And the higher resonance is supposed to be the most powerful. The highest in vibration is supposed to be the most powerful. So if you were to strike two strings, a low string and a high string, technically, I believe, unless I'm wrong about how I'm explaining this, according to that theory, the string with the higher note would make the lower note resonate higher, more than the low note would pull the higher note down. So meditating this way is like pulling this high vibrational blanket over your whole body, and it, even after you stop meditating and go back to life and get caught up in all your bullshit in your head and your daily everything, you still carry that vibration with you. You still carry that good feeling, that spirit of love and thanksgiving with you. I think that's why gratitude is such a big deal, because nothing will give you the warm fuzzies quite as fast as being really super grateful for something, feeling so humbled and so blessed and so honored by the receiving of something, you know, that it's an overall full body experience if you do it right. And I believe that you are supposed to have a full body experience with this, but there isn't very many things that happens in our day-to-day life that makes us feel that way anymore. We're focused on all the things that we don't like. I mean, we're literally trained to focus on the things that we don't want. All the things we hate. Pick out all the things that you don't want. Pick out the things you want to change. Make a list of all the things you want to change. That's kind of pushed a lot. That's backwards. I mean, you don't make a list of things that you wish were different. You make a list of things you aspire to. Goals, something you want to be. The direction you want to move in. Because making a list of bad stuff is just looking backwards, and that's not going to get you anywhere. But I am going to pop over and... Ooh, some of you did show up. How about that? Hello, everybody. I wasn't really expecting anybody because I know this is a new channel, and I gave up 3,000 subs to come back to the small group, and it's good. It's good because only the people that really care, only the people that really want to learn, that want to know what this says, that want to understand it, they're the ones that'll be around. And those are the only people I really want to talk to. Not about the subs or the followers or the ad revenue or whatever. I just want to read this because this stuff is really weird. This book is really weird, and it all has to do with the same thing as far as I can tell. I don't know how I feel about the literalness of it. I know a lot of people believe that the Bible is largely literal and largely symbolic. And there are obvious things that are literal, like, you know, love your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. I think people confuse that. They think that it means, you know, I mean, even the turn the other cheek. But, you know, you only have two cheeks. Doesn't mean stick around and be abused. It doesn't mean let your neighbor use you. It means hold yourself accountable to the same standard you hold them accountable to. We expect so much from other people than we expect from ourselves. We sit around and we do things that we know are wrong. we know we shouldn't be doing. We know that they're bad for us or hurt our families or our lives or our bodies or whatever, and we do it anyway. And then when we see someone else do it, we're like, ooh, look what they're doing. That's bad for them. They shouldn't do that. Love your neighbor as yourself. Hold yourself accountable to those same things, you know. Don't be a piece of hoopla. But that's a whole other thing. I'm going to cut it here because I didn't want to be here all day. 1 Corinthians 13. It's got some very interesting things in it. A lot of interesting stuff that we don't normally see. Because I know when I first sat down and read through this, even understanding the symbols the way that I do, I still read through it and I'm like, what? And I go back and I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. And then I have to pull up Bible Hub and actually look at the words because that's the only way it even makes sense. It's so hooey, you know, it's so weird. It's like reading Shakespeare, only worse. I mean, it's much worse than Shakespeare. It's like reading Shakespeare while listening to Morse code filling in half a dozen of the words, you know? It's like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And people are like, well, I got the gist of it. If you don't have love, you don't have anything. Love is so important in this world. You gotta have love. And that's not what it's saying. I mean, what the hell is a love feast? That's what it says. It says it's important to have a love feast. It's important to burn your body. It's important to think no evil. Don't hold a grudge. Love doesn't keep account of all of the wrong things that you've done. It goes with it. It goes with the flow. It works with you. And it doesn't keep track. It just works on you. It just comes into you in a process that has to do with making you perfect and creating a husband. And it comes into you, and for right now, you're suspended in time, and you're looking at a reflection that is a mystery. It's a complete mystery. But all the parts of this riddle are out here, and all you gotta do is want to solve the riddle and have faith and have hope. But the love feast is the most important thing that you can do. Can't really summarize it any better than that. So that's it for me. I'm out. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you come back for the next episode. For my next mental episode, I hope you come back and we'll figure it out. Is it logic or is it literal? Bye, guys.